Hi friends, and welcome to NC Family's weekly update for the week ending June the 28th.
That's right. It's just a full week.
It has been a very, very eventful week here at the North Carolina General Assembly. I'm with Sharon Sullivan and Jerry Royal. And gosh, as we are coming to you actually late on Thursday afternoon as we're recording this, the General Assembly is still in session, but they are pushing hard to bring this session to a close. And as Jerry said, it has been quite a busy week. One of the big items that has been in discussions but has not come to fruition yet is the expanded funding for opportunity scholarships in North Carolina. Of course, last year the legislature passed a big expansion of opportunity scholarships, making it available to all families in the state. They did provide expanded funding for that, but did not anticipate the great demand that would come about as parents across the state learned that these opportunity scholarships would be available to their children. And so we have a waiting list of 55,000 students and families who are awaiting word of whether or not they're going to have the opportunity to take advantage of North Carolina's opportunity scholarships. It's amazing. The Senate passed a standalone bill to provide, I think it's like $258 million of additional funds for opportunity scholarships. The House passed a similar provision in their budget bill not too long ago, but the chambers have not been able to come to agreement on the mechanism to make that happen, which is really tragic if they conclude this session without providing this additional funding for 55,000 students and the private schools that are awaiting word of whether or not they're going to have an increase in student attendance come this next school year. So, Jerry, Sharon, any reflections on this?
Big picture wise, though, this is seeing this one issue and what's happening. This is what happens near the end of the session. There are negotiations going on about a lot of different issues, and sometimes one, like it was weeks ago that the Senate passed the provision for funding, but then the House, we don't know exactly why, but you have to see now, since they weeks later put it in their budget proposal, they had different approaches.
Yeah.
And this is, like you say, John, it's the unfortunate part sometimes of the process when the two chambers have different ideas about how to approach things and how to move things ahead. In this case, like you say, a very important provision that needs to happen but hasn't.
Yeah. Right, and it's super tragic in the sense that we have families, students, schools who don't really know what the fall is going to look like. Yep. And as a parent myself, I know that I wanted to know before halfway through the summer where my kids were going to be in August.
Yeah. So there's still, as we're talking now, there's still time, and we're very hopeful and prayerful that the legislature will find a way to make this happen. Both chambers agree, and this is the tragic thing. Both chambers agree, but they just haven't passed it yet. And so hopefully they'll do that, but they may not. So we will definitely report on that and let you know what occurs with that. A fortunate item that has not seen action in the State House, it did in the Senate, is another bill that the Senate has passed that would legalize marijuana for quote-unquote medical purposes in North Carolina. This bill, it was a bill dealing with banning substances like tianeptine or tianeptine. Yeah. We're still trying to figure out how to pronounce it. Xylazine as well as kratom. The bill would schedule those as controlled substances. It would also regulate a lot of hemp-derived consumable products, whether it be in gummy form or liquid form or otherwise, that are being sold in convenience stores and gas stations and vape shops across North Carolina with no age limit whatsoever. So the legislature was moving this bill along. It had gained momentum. They were adding stuff to it to make it more restrictive, which was great. And then they dropped the substance of Senate Bill 3, the medical marijuana bill, into that bill, really, from our perspective, corrupting that bill. And so that bill did pass the Senate. It's gone back to the House, but the House has not taken it up yet. They also have not taken up Senate Bill 3, which was the original medical marijuana bill that passed the state Senate last year and has been sitting in the House ever since.
Yeah. And this is quite honestly where we're glad to see how the legislative process works when there are two different chambers. Yeah. we have shared with y'all, we've shared with them, and I know a lot of you all have shared with members what we have expressed for years, the concerns from all the research we've done on that issue, where major medical groups do not support the use of marijuana as medicine. They do. A lot of people are, as you said, John, concerned about these substances like what's referred to as gas station heroin. And this bill was going to address that. But now it's got another provision. So when they sent that, the Senate sent that to the House, and apparently where it's within the Republican caucus, there's not support there. So the bill has not been brought forward. And we're very thankful for that. So this is when sometimes it's frustrating when good things don't happen, but then it's also good when things that are not good get stopped. And so that's what's happened so far with that particular issue. And I know there's one other one I think we on the.
Well, and on the gambling front, of course, last year at the very end of session, there was a proposal to legalize commercial gambling casinos in North Carolina, and also tens of thousands of video lottery terminals, which are essentially video gambling machines operated under the umbrella of the state lottery. There continue throughout this session to be rumbles and rumors that gambling legislation was going to be taken up, but to date, it has not, and we're very thankful for that.
Absolutely.
In this case, the explanation that we're finding is that Republicans and Democrats, who we would continue to interact with, there's a lot of opposition. There are some people who are pushing this very hard, have been and will continue doing that. But part of what has happened is through your communications with members, our communications and others, right now, there is what we understand strong opposition from Republicans and Democrats, and that's why that's not moving forward. So this is where we see the legislative process working in a way that we understand it should. People are talking, they're being informed, and so as of right now, we're hearing nothing is going to happen on that and as of now.
Right, and I mean, I definitely want to thank those members that have stood firm with us and in agreement with us. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do down here to stand up, especially if you're in a minority group standing up. So we are thankful for that.
Well, and Sharon, I want to pose a question to you. You have been a legislative assistant. You've worked with a member of the North Carolina House for a couple of terms. That was a little while ago, but you have been down here on the inside, and you've experienced, a lot of Jerry referenced the other day in our, I guess, last week's video, as they say, watching legislation being made is often like watching sausage being made. You don't necessarily want to see it. You may like the end product, you may not, kind of depends, but it is a process, and sometimes it's not the most attractive thing. But as a former legislative assistant, tell us a little bit about, I mean, you're working in this high pressure environment. There are lots of different influences and pressure being applied to members to try to influence them to make decisions. But constituents back home play a vital role in how legislators make decisions about what they do, because they are elected by constituents to represent those constituents. So just share a little bit about, kind of in your perspective now as an advocate for the Family Policy Council, sort of how that plays out in your mind.
Well, I will say that when I was working down here as a legislative assistant, it was really important anytime anyone contacted the office. The members really care what the constituents think and what they say. And so it's important, even if you're one person or you're 100 people, to reach out and contact them. Email, phone, letter, anyway, it is important to them and they want to hear it, especially as things are coming, to an end here and things start getting a little bit frantic. The thing that can ground the member is knowing what the people at home want. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, we are your advocates here at the General Assembly. And Jerry and Sharon, thank you all for your excellent work. They are tirelessly down here talking to lawmakers day after day after day. People see them, and it's a reminder that the Family Policy Council is here, but not just that we're here, but we are here representing you. And when you are active and you're engaged and you're involved, and especially when you're in prayer for what's going on down here and for our team down here, it makes a huge, huge difference. So thank you for that. The session is still technically underway. We have seen an adjournment resolution, or have at least read of its existence. And it sounds like they're looking at an adjournment resolution that's similar to what they did last year, where they identify 1 day per month for the next several months that they may or may not hold session. And so part of that is to deal with any vetoes that the governor may apply to any pieces of legislation. They'll need to come back in session if they want to override those vetoes. But the adjournment resolution also makes or clarifies that certain bills, including those that had made the crossover deadline and that are still eligible now, will remain eligible for consideration. So issues like opportunity scholarships, although the funding may be too late for these 55,000 families, the marijuana issue, the gambling issues may still be on the agenda, or at least eligible for consideration. So please continue to stay tuned. Please continue to follow your emails and our videos, our website, and also please continue to pray for the Family Policy Council, but not only us, for our members of the state legislature, because they are still in office, they're still active, and they need our prayers and our support as well. So, Jerry, Sharon, any closing words before we conclude?
Just thank you. Thank you for all you've done, and we appreciate it so very much.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you for praying and working with us.
Yep.
Lord, God bless you.
Yep. Well, thank you all very much. We are extremely grateful for your partnership with us. That's really what this is a partnership. And stay tuned. Please keep your eyes open for your email inboxes, as we will be sending an update on how the session concludes. There may be some changes on some of the things that we've said today, but we will certainly let you know. So with that, friends, thank you for being with us. God bless you, and we'll see you next week.